My beloved soul, listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary encouragement. This is a divine interruption meant for a very specific soul. Something ended suddenly in your life, without warning, without explanation, and it shook you to your core. One moment you thought you were safe, established, settled, and the next moment the door slammed shut. No closure. No apology. No second chance. And you have been asking yourself in the quiet moments, why would God allow this? My beloved soul, understand this clearly from the very beginning. That door did not close because you failed. It closed because you outgrew it. Heaven did not remove you to punish you. Heaven removed you to promote you. What you lost was not your future, it was a limitation disguised as security. And if you are still listening right now, it is because your spirit already knows this message is for you. There are seasons when God allows you to build, to labor, to invest your heart fully, even knowing that the place you are in is temporary. You gave your loyalty, your effort, your love, your consistency, and you believed that if you did everything right, the door would remain open. But God saw something you could not yet see. He saw that you were about to shrink yourself to fit a space that could no longer contain who you were becoming. So He stepped in. Not gently. Not slowly. But decisively. The door closed fast because delay would have cost you more. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because what feels like rejection was actually divine redirection unfolding in real time. You may replay the moment in your mind again and again, wondering what you could have done differently. You may question your worth, your discernment, even your faith. But hear this truth settle into your spirit: when God closes a door, He does not do it to confuse you, He does it to protect you from staying where your destiny would suffocate. That door was familiar, but it was no longer fruitful. It was comfortable, but it was no longer aligned. And alignment matters more than attachment. Heaven will always choose your growth over your comfort, even when it hurts. What you did not see at the time was that the door that closed was tied to an old version of you. The obedience you showed in that season qualified you for a greater assignment, but you could not carry both the old and the new at the same time. Something had to be released. Something had to end. And endings are never quiet. They are disruptive by design. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because this ending was never meant to be your conclusion. My beloved soul, God is not careless with your tears. Every night you lay awake confused, every prayer you whispered through disappointment, every time you tried to be strong while breaking inside, none of it was ignored. Heaven was recording everything. And while you were mourning what ended, God was already arranging what would replace it. But here is the truth that few are prepared to hear: the greater door cannot open until the lesser one is fully shut. As long as you keep looking back, hoping it might reopen, you delay your own elevation. The reason this transition felt so painful is because you were emotionally invested, not because it was meant to last forever. Some doors are assignments, not destinations. They are meant to teach you, stretch you, and prepare you, then release you. And when their purpose is fulfilled, God closes them with authority. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are ready for more. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal, and what you are about to understand will bring peace to what has been troubling your heart. There is a greater door opening for you now, but it does not look like what you imagined. It may not arrive with noise or immediate certainty. It may require faith without confirmation. It may demand courage where you once relied on familiarity. This new door is not about survival, it is about expansion. It is not about proving yourself, it is about stepping into what was already prepared for you. And that is why the resistance has been intense. Anything that carries purpose attracts pressure before manifestation. You may feel unqualified. You may feel unready. You may wonder if you missed your chance. But hear this clearly, God does not open greater doors for those who feel ready, He opens them for those who are chosen. And chosen ones are rarely comfortable when transition arrives. They are stretched. They are tested. They are separated. And separation always precedes elevation. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because this moment is not random, it is intentional. My beloved soul, the silence you experienced after the door closed was not abandonment. It was preparation. God was recalibrating your heart, your expectations, and your identity. He was removing dependence on people, places, and outcomes, so you could rely fully on Him. The delay was not denial. It was refinement. You were being reshaped for what you asked for, because the next door carries weight, responsibility, and influence. And you cannot walk through it carrying old wounds, old fears, or old attachments. What is coming will require a new mindset. You will have to trust without seeing. Move without applause. Obey without reassurance. But the peace that will follow will confirm that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The door God is opening is not smaller, it is greater in scope, greater in impact, and greater in reward. It will stretch you, but it will also sustain you. And once you step through it, you will understand why everything else had to end. My beloved soul, this is your confirmation. The closing was necessary. The breaking was purposeful. The waiting was strategic. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are positioned. And the same God who closed that door with authority is now opening a greater one with intention. Do not mourn what could not follow you. Prepare for what is about to meet you. Because this was never about loss. This was about alignment. When that door closed, something else happened that you may not have fully understood at the time. A separation took place not just externally, but internally. God was not only removing you from a place, a person, or a situation, He was removing that place from you. That is always the deeper work. Because if the door closes but the attachment remains, the pain lingers and the future stays delayed. My beloved soul, this season has been about untangling your identity from what was familiar. You were never meant to define yourself by access, by approval, or by consistency from outside sources. You were meant to stand rooted in who God called you to be, regardless of what opens or closes around you. That is why this phase felt lonely. That is why certain connections faded without explanation. God was narrowing your environment to match your assignment. Many people misunderstand this stage and think they are being punished, when in reality they are being repositioned. When God prepares to open a greater door, He often strips away the noise so you can hear His direction clearly. What felt like isolation was actually focus. What felt like emptiness was actually room being created. You could not carry the weight of what is coming while still holding on to what was familiar but limiting. And even though you tried to remain gracious, patient, and understanding, Heaven knew that if the door stayed open any longer, you would have continued to give from a place that was no longer being replenished. So God intervened. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because there is a truth here that brings freedom. You were never abandoned in the closing, you were covered. What you could not see was what God was shielding you from. That door was becoming a point of compromise. You were adjusting your standards, lowering your expectations, and rationalizing delays that were never meant to be permanent. And because God loves you too much to let you settle beneath your calling, He allowed the ending to happen in a way that made returning impossible. Not to hurt you, but to heal you fully. As time passed, you may have noticed that your desires began to shift. Things that once felt important no longer carried the same weight. Conversations that once excited you began to feel empty. Environments you once tolerated now felt draining. This is not confusion, this is clarity arriving quietly. God was upgrading your discernment. He was teaching you to recognize when something is no longer aligned, even if it once was. Growth always brings discomfort before it brings confidence. And what you are experiencing now is not loss of direction, it is refinement of vision. The greater door that is opening does not operate on the same principles as the one that closed. It will not require you to chase validation. It will not demand that you over-explain your worth. It will not thrive on imbalance. This door opens into a space where reciprocity exists, where peace is not conditional, and where your presence is valued rather than tolerated. But to walk into that, you had to first unlearn survival patterns. You had to stop equating struggle with purpose. You had to release the belief that endurance alone makes something right. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because this next understanding changes how you view the delay. The waiting period after the door closed was not empty time. It was necessary alignment. God was synchronizing people, timing, and resources that you could not force or accelerate. He was also strengthening your internal foundation so that when the new door opens, you do not walk in afraid of losing it. Fear of loss is often rooted in unresolved attachment to what already ended. That is why healing had to come first. My beloved soul, you may have felt moments of doubt during this preparation. Moments where you wondered if you misheard God, if you waited too long, or if the opportunity passed you by. But heaven does not operate on panic. What is meant for you does not require anxiety to sustain it. The greater door is not fragile. It will not close because you take time to heal. It will not disappear because you choose wisdom over urgency. God does not rush what He has already secured. There is also a deeper spiritual shift that occurred during this transition. Your prayers changed. They became less about asking and more about understanding. Less about outcomes and more about alignment. That is maturity. That is evidence of growth. You are no longer begging for open doors, you are learning to trust the one who controls them. And that trust is what qualifies you for the next level. Many want access without surrender. Many want promotion without preparation. But you allowed God to do the uncomfortable work, and that is why what comes next will be stable, not temporary. My beloved soul, do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, and this part matters. The greater door opening before you is connected to impact, not just personal relief. What you walk into will affect others. Your story, your endurance, your obedience through uncertainty will become a source of strength for people who are watching quietly. That is why this season required integrity even when no one applauded you. Heaven was shaping your character for visibility you have not yet experienced. You may notice that as the new door approaches, old fears attempt to resurface. Thoughts like, what if it fails again, or what if I am not enough? These thoughts are not signs to stop, they are signs that you are close. The mind often reacts before the spirit catches up. But you are not stepping forward as the same person who walked into the last door. You are wiser now. More grounded. More aware of your boundaries and your value. You carry discernment where you once carried desperation. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because here is the truth that settles it all. God did not close one door to test your faith, He closed it to reveal your worth. He needed you to see that access does not define you, alignment does. Approval does not secure you, obedience does. And the door He is opening now is not something you will have to convince to stay open. It will recognize you. It will welcome you. It will meet you with peace instead of pressure. My beloved soul, the preparation is nearly complete. What is coming will feel different because it is different. It will not require you to abandon yourself to be accepted. It will not demand silence where your voice matters. It will not confuse you with inconsistency. This is the season where you walk through a door knowing you belong there, not because you fought for it, but because God positioned you for it. As the greater door begins to come into view, there is an internal adjustment that must happen, one that is often misunderstood. This is the moment where faith is no longer emotional, but intentional. Earlier, belief may have carried excitement, expectation, even urgency. Now it becomes quieter, steadier, more grounded. This is not weakness. This is maturity. God does not invite you into a greater space with noise, He invites you with clarity. My beloved soul, this stage feels unfamiliar because you are no longer driven by desperation, you are being led by discernment. You are learning how to move without rushing, how to trust without demanding signs, how to stand without leaning on what once held you up. There is a reason God allowed the previous door to close without explanation. If you had been given every answer, you would have tried to control the outcome. You would have negotiated, delayed, adjusted, anything to soften the ending. But endings that carry destiny cannot be softened. They must be clean. They must be final. The lack of closure was itself a form of closure. It forced you to release control and step into trust. And now, as the new door approaches, you are no longer asking for proof, you are recognizing alignment. What resonates brings peace. What does not feels heavy. This is how God teaches you to listen beyond logic. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because something profound is taking place within you. Your tolerance for confusion has decreased. Your patience for imbalance has ended. You are no longer impressed by access alone. You are paying attention to consistency, integrity, and fruit. This shift did not happen overnight. It was built through disappointment, silence, and waiting. God was retraining your spirit to recognize what is safe, what is sustainable, and what is sent. The next door will not require you to convince yourself it is right. It will feel settled even before it fully opens. You may have noticed that some people who once had influence over you no longer do. Their opinions carry less weight. Their absence no longer destabilizes you. This is not indifference, it is independence. God is teaching you to walk without leaning on external validation. The greater door requires inner stability. It requires knowing who you are when no one affirms you. That is why this season felt like stripping. Not because God wanted less of you, but because He wanted more room for Himself. What was removed was never meant to lead you. As you stand here now, between what ended and what is unfolding, there is a temptation to rush forward just to escape the discomfort of waiting. But wisdom resists urgency. The pause you are in is not empty. It is intentional. God is aligning timing in ways you cannot yet perceive. There are conversations happening without your presence. There are decisions being influenced without your effort. There are paths being cleared that you do not have to fight through. Your role is not to force the door open. Your role is to remain available, attentive, and obedient. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you, because what you are about to realize changes how you see yourself. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not catching up. You are arriving prepared. Many step into greater opportunities without the character to sustain them. That is why their access is brief. Yours will last because it is built on understanding, not impulse. You learned restraint where others demanded speed. You learned reflection where others chased distraction. These lessons were not accidental. They were necessary. The new door will introduce you to unfamiliar responsibility. It will stretch your confidence. It will require you to trust your voice, your judgment, your discernment. And because God knows this, He spent time strengthening your inner foundation. You are more self-aware now. More honest with yourself. Less willing to ignore discomfort for the sake of appearance. This awareness is protection. It keeps you from repeating cycles that once drained you. It helps you recognize when something is aligned rather than merely appealing. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal, and this is where clarity deepens. The reason the greater door feels intimidating is because it matches your capacity. Smaller spaces no longer challenge you. They restrict you. What is opening now will demand growth, but it will also release fulfillment. You will be required to show up fully, not partially. To be present, not guarded. To participate, not observe. This is why healing mattered. You cannot step into expansion while carrying unresolved fear of loss. There is also a divine exchange taking place. God is replacing your need for certainty with trust, your need for control with surrender, your need for reassurance with peace. These are not losses. They are upgrades. You are learning to move without needing everything explained. To obey without needing immediate confirmation. To rest without knowing every outcome. This is how faith matures. This is how chosen ones are prepared for doors that others cannot sustain. As the opening draws closer, you may sense an internal resistance, not from fear, but from awareness. You know that once you step through, there is no returning to who you were. This door marks a transition, not just in circumstance, but in identity. You will no longer be the one waiting to be chosen. You will be the one entrusted. That responsibility feels heavy because it matters. But you will not carry it alone. God does not open greater doors without providing greater grace. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because here it is. The door that closed taught you endurance. The door that opens will teach you stewardship. You are moving from surviving to sustaining. From hoping to building. From reacting to leading. And the quiet confidence you feel now is the evidence that you are ready. You do not need to announce your arrival. The door itself will confirm it. My beloved soul, trust what is unfolding. The unease you feel is not warning, it is anticipation. The stillness is not absence, it is alignment. What God is opening now is not meant to impress others, it is meant to establish you. And when you step forward, it will not feel rushed, forced, or fragile. It will feel grounded. It will feel clear. It will feel like home, not because it is familiar, but because it finally fits who you have become. As this transition deepens, something subtle but powerful begins to settle within you. It is no longer the sharp ache of loss, nor the restless anticipation of what is next. It is a quiet certainty forming beneath the surface. This is the stage where trust replaces tension. Where faith is no longer something you speak, but something you live. My beloved soul, you are learning how to stand without leaning, how to breathe without rushing, how to wait without doubting your worth. This did not happen by accident. God has been steadying you so that when the greater door fully opens, you do not walk in unstable or uncertain, but anchored and aware. There was a time when silence felt unbearable, when unanswered prayers echoed loudly in your mind. But now, silence carries instruction. You are hearing more without being told more. You are sensing direction without being pushed. This is spiritual maturity taking shape. God often prepares chosen ones by teaching them how to listen beyond words. Because the next space you are entering will require discernment more than instruction. You will not always be guided step by step. Sometimes you will need to recognize alignment simply by the peace it brings. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because this is where inner authority is established. You are beginning to trust your judgment again. Not impulsively, but wisely. Not emotionally, but intentionally. The uncertainty that once made you second-guess yourself has been replaced by awareness. You no longer need external permission to move forward. You no longer need constant reassurance to feel secure. God has been rebuilding your confidence from the inside, separating ego from identity, and fear from intuition. You may notice that your reactions have changed. Situations that once triggered anxiety now invite reflection. Discomfort no longer sends you into panic, but into prayer. This is evidence of transformation. You are no longer governed by urgency. You are guided by alignment. The greater door requires this level of composure. What is opening ahead will involve decisions that shape not only your future, but the futures of others connected to you. God would not place you there unprepared. As the days move forward, there may still be moments where the past attempts to resurface. Old memories, old conversations, old what-ifs. Not to pull you back, but to test whether you are still attached. Each time you choose peace over nostalgia, you pass the test. Each time you refuse to romanticize what God removed, you move closer to what He is revealing. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering without pain. And you are closer than you think. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because what you are experiencing now is rare. Many never reach this place. They carry old wounds into new doors. And wonder why everything feels heavy again. You allowed God to empty you before filling you. You allowed Him to correct you before elevating you. This willingness is what sets you apart. The greater door is not opening because you demanded it. It is opening because you were faithful in the unseen work. My beloved soul, there is also a shift happening in how you view success. It is no longer about speed or recognition. It is about sustainability and truth. You are learning that fast openings without foundation lead to fragile outcomes. What God is building in your life now is meant to last. That is why the process felt slow. That is why shortcuts were removed. That is why certain opportunities passed by even though they looked appealing. Not everything that opens quickly is sent by God. You are now able to discern between opportunity and assignment. Between access and alignment. This discernment will protect you in the next season. It will help you say no without guilt and yes without fear. You are stepping into a place where your decisions carry weight, and your presence carries influence. That influence must be stewarded with wisdom, not impulse. God has been shaping that wisdom quietly, patiently, thoroughly. My beloved soul, do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, and this next truth brings relief. You do not have to strive to keep the next door open. You do not have to overperform to prove your value. What God opens by purpose is sustained by grace. You will notice that what is coming does not drain you the way the past did. It energizes you. It challenges you without diminishing you. It stretches you without breaking you. This balance is confirmation. There may be moments where the responsibility feels heavy, where you question whether you can handle what is unfolding. But remember, capacity grows with calling. God never reveals the full weight at once. He increases strength as demand increases. You are not meant to carry tomorrow's responsibilities with today's strength. Grace arrives in portions, exactly when needed. Trust that what feels intimidating now will feel manageable once you step fully into it. As the greater door stands before you, there is an invitation to release the last remnants of fear. Fear of repeating the past. Fear of disappointment. Fear of visibility. These fears are natural, but they are no longer in control. You have learned from experience. You have gained clarity through pain. You are not naive anymore. You are discerning. And that discernment will guide you where enthusiasm once led you astray. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because here is what settles your spirit. The door God is opening is not a test of your endurance, it is a reward for your obedience. You are not entering to prove yourself, you are entering because you are trusted. Trusted with influence. Trusted with responsibility. Trusted with impact. This trust was built in silence, refined in waiting, and sealed in surrender. My beloved soul, the transformation you feel is real. You are no longer the person who begged for clarity. You are the person who walks in it. The confusion has lifted because the preparation is complete. What remains is movement. Gentle, intentional, aligned movement. And when you step forward, you will not feel like you are stepping into the unknown. You will feel like you are stepping into something that has been waiting for you just as patiently as you were waiting for it. My beloved soul, the door God closed protected you, and the greater one now opening will establish you. Walk forward without fear, without regret, without looking back. What begins now carries purpose, peace, and permanence. Trust the timing. Heaven has aligned it. This ending becomes your elevation forever, divinely, complete. Type Amen.